What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here.
Rick Ginn here.
And we have some shocking information, right? Last month, we made more money. We made more money than pretty much any realtor in my local market, almost all of them combined. I wouldn't say every single one because it's every big county, but pretty much the top 5 combined, we made more money than them.
Yeah.
Easily. And if you look in the state of Florida, we're making more money than pretty much anyone in the top 10 realtors in the state of Florida, right? If you get rid of the flat fee brokers, you got
Flat fee,
what,
right?
100, 200 bucks per listing. It's insanity to say this, but last month we made more money than pretty much every single realtor out there in the state of Florida. And, it feels illegal to do that. Not because it's like we didn't make more money than because we're fancier. We wear fancy schmancy suits. We don't do all these things. It's because of one real important fact you have to know here. Guys, the top 10 realtors in the United States, they're millionaires. Okay, let's not lie about this. They're millionaires. They're making 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think top realtors are coming in 10, 15 million. That sounds crazy. That's really not.
Yeah.
It's really not. Considering real estate is a trillion dollar industry, right? Trillions of dollars in real estate. Top athletes are making 30, 40 million dollars, right? Top realtors, right? But here's the thing. The top 500 real estate investors in the country, they're not millionaires. They are billionaires. One of the top 25 real estate investors in the country, he lives in Miami. He owns the greatest football team of all time, the Miami Dolphins. Let me get his net worth. Okay. His net worth, he's just a real estate investor. His net worth is $18.4 billion. Think about that for a second. $18.4 billion. There's no realtor with a net worth of $1 billion or $2 billion.
Nope.
So why does it feel illegal that I make way more money than a realtor? I'll tell you the dang truth. Okay. It's because I am in the right boat. So I'm making money in the real estate investment space. When you're a top 50 real estate investor in the country, you're a billionaire. When you're a top 50 realtor, you're a millionaire. That's the key difference between being a real estate agent and a real estate investor. The real money is in real estate investing, not in the whole realtor thing. In my local market, right, the highest paid realtor in, let's say, I think Vero Beach I looked at. Homeboy's doing good, making like 3 million. And that's 3 million in listing, that's not marketing. That's not, you're probably half of that. 1.5 for the top. Here's the funny part. I know wholesalers making more than $2 million in Vero Beach. I know that for a fact. And so the top wholesalers are making way more money than the top realtors in 99% of the markets. You take LA, New York, and Miami out of there. I mean, that's it. And so the funniest thing is, no one's ever really made this distinction, but wholesalers are making more money. The top wholesalers are making more money than top real estate agents. It's insane to me. That's crazy.
I don't. I guess unless you have the desire to list properties, but I mean, you're dead right. If you take the top one in each one, it's literally 10x, if not 100x. In fact, in our local market, I know of at least a dozen millionaires that simply do what I do. And guys, that's locally. That's just locally. He's talking nationally on a lot of this stuff. If you look at it, I mean, there are, listen, outside of California and New York and maybe some of the New York City, those markets, I mean, do the sales volume, it's just a numbers game. If you look at it, but I don't know who's trying to glorify being a real estate agent and wholesaling, but I think you guys need to get the facts.
So here's the thing. It feels illegal to be making this much money compared to a realtor. I'll be honest with you. I work a lot. Let's say the top real estate agent locally, right? Within, hour drive from me, right? And it's not doing an hour. Okay, so there's Palm Beach. This is where Trump lives. That's where the billionaires live. A couple of those guys, they're making a lot of money. I don't think I make better than all of them combined. I think I'm better than the top realtor in Palm Beach, though. I gotta look at the volume. But the thing is, no, I think I am. But the craziest part is like, it just feels illegal. I work way less than these people. Like there's realtors, I make more than these realtors making like 2 or 3 million, and I easily, and I work like a quarter of the time. Like I'm not putting 100-hour weeks anymore. And a lot of people think I don't. And I mean, I probably should, but like I don't need to because I'm able to scale it out the correct way. So it feels illegal the amount of money I make versus how much I work compared to pretty much anyone else in real estate. Hey, do you know guys, do you know construction people, working 50, 60, 70 hours a week, making 80 grand a year? A ton of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have real estate investors who will work 30 hours a week and make way more than all these people. It's so funny to me. And the other funny part is like, I look at my TikTok, right? I get people who just blast me on TikTok. I got blasted yesterday. I'm like, I think I made like a post. I'm just like, well, if you just lowball people on Zillow and then sell them to a rich landlord, you will get rich. Like you'll make 30 grand in a month. And people are like, oh, you're a bloodsucker. You don't create. A lot of people like think that us real estate like investors are terrible people. I had one guy said we should outlaw corporations from owning real estate. It's the funniest thing in the world.
It's hysterical.
And I commented to the guy, you ready what I wrote?
Yeah.
I said, there are plenty of countries where the government owns all the housing you'd love to live in. He said, you thought that was a gotcha moment, but no, we should ban corporations. I'm like, okay, let's think about this for a second. This is how half of America works sometimes, but it's just like corporations shouldn't own real estate and they'll make real estate cheap. Let me be honest with you. Do you know what the biggest corporations in the United States are? Banks. Correct?
Hands down.
And how do people buy real estate affordably in the United States?
Banks,
right? Because they get mortgages. Why do banks lend money? To make money, correct?
Correct.
So, for example, if a bank would lend you money because they take your money, right? They protect it, and then they lend money to somebody, let's say to Rick Ginn, and Rick Ginn decides not to pay his mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Why does the bank not lose all that money? Because you can take the property back, right?
Correct.
Well, if you ban corporations from owning real estate, the bank can't lend money anymore. So when people tell me, Zach, corporations shouldn't own real estate, what you're doing is terrible. It's like, well, if we ban corporations from owning real estate, there'd be no more banks. Banks would go out of business that.
Yeah, only the elite would own real estate. And it would be kind of worthless.
And you'd have to buy it for cash.
Yeah.
Like really? And people are like, you're a blood-sucking investor. You just don't do anything. You're a landlord. I'm like, well, I made $1 million and I poured it into real estate to provide housing for people.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you can't afford to get a mortgage? You rent. Well, should we ban renting? Because that's another thing too. So I get asked all the time, like, Zach, you don't like, it feels illegal really to work this less and make this much money, but it's really good. So we're going to show you how exactly we do this today, how we can get rich wholesaling real estate without killing ourselves and honestly just make it seem illegal in 2025. So number one, being in the right boat. This is probably one of the most important things that I can give to anybody, but the right boat is essential in wholesaling real estate to knowing how you're going to become successful. Warren Buffett says this quote, and this is probably one of my favorite quotes of all time, but it doesn't matter how hard you row, it matters which boat you get in. And what this basically means is if you look at, let's look at me, for example, all right? So when I got started wholesaling real estate, I put all my effort, all my time, everything into this business, and I became really wealthy doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if instead I started wholesaling like 16, 17? What if I decided I was
old.
But what if I decided at that time I was just going to put 14-hour days into becoming the greatest quarterback of all time in football? Would I be able to make as much money as I do now? No. Right? That it depends what boat you're in. So if I try to be really good as a quarterback in the NFL, it would not work. Okay? And the funny part about that is like, that's just because that's the boat I chose.
Mm-hmm.
If I decided I was to become an underground gangster rapper, probably not going to do well. Zach Ginn from the middle class. They got some rappers like that, like Drake. Middle class guys. In the rap scene. But basically,
from Coral Gables.
No, that's Rick Ross was the corrections officer. But okay, we won't get into that. I mean, Mr. Gangster Rapper was a police officer.
Wasn't Drake?
No,
He's from
Drake's
Coral Gables.
no, he's from Toronto
How come he's always talking about Miami?
because he loves Miami.
Didn't he go to school there briefly?
No.
Okay.
He was in Degrassi.
Why do all the rappers go to Miami?
Miami's fun. Okay. But basically, what I can tell you is if I put all of my effort, all of my blood, sweat, and tears into being a rapper, I probably wouldn't make it. I don't have that lyricism. You know, there's only one Eminem. I tell you that. And I ain't going to beat him. And so the thing is, like, I look at all the things I could do. I think if I got into investment banking or if I got really crazy into like being a stockbroker, I think I could probably do really well. I'd probably make less than I do now, but I'd still do really well. I think if I became like a big lawyer and I had a big firm as a business, but like it depends on what boat you're in. And you got to remember, sometimes it's not about how hard you row, right? So like I could work 15 hours a day trying to become the best singer of all time, and it might not amount to anything. But if I put 15 hours into wholesaling, it amounts to a lot. It really depends on what kind of boat you're in. And what I mean by this is you might be rowing upstream. Maybe you got to change the streams you're in. And the easiest stream for anybody to be rowing, you're kind of rowing with the current, is wholesaling real estate. Because within a month, if you worked about 30 hours a week, you have a really high chance of making $30,000, $40,000. I've said this yesterday, and I'll continue to keep saying it, right? There's only two businesses really out there when you have no money at all, like $0, $0, you can make 30 grand in a month. There's only two. And the first one, which is legitimately legal, is to shake your butt on the internet. I just don't have that it factor to shake my butt on the internet and make 30 grand. So I have to wholesale houses. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea.
Yeah, but like what I mean by that is like there's people that they shake their butts on the internet and they can make 30 grand. I can't do that, you know? So I have to wholesale houses. Those in my mind are really the only two ways that I found anyone can make 30 grand with no money at all. Like legit $0 in the next 30 days. You really can't. Okay. That's legal. That's legal.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. And I have been waiting for years for somebody to give me another business that you could do that in. It doesn't happen.
I've seen a lot of people try.
But here, everyone tries it. Now you might say, oh, Zach, but what about this coin trading? Coin trading will work, but you need $1,000 to $3,000 up front, and there's a good chance you're going to lose it all.
What do you mean 1,000 or?
Well, if you want to day trade, you need at least some capital to day trade.
I mean,
you're not going to day trade at $5.
It's like
right?
going to Vegas with 1,000. You're not walking out with 100 grand.
That's the thing. So, like, if you want to make 30 grand a month with $0 though, there's nothing else you can do.
Zero.
That's
legal.
That's legal.
That's legal. Like I can't emphasize that enough. So,
like for example, you at what age do you get started wholesaling? 33.
Yeah.
At 33 years old, if you decided to go all in on being an MMA fighter, do you think you would be you make more money as an MMA fighter in the UFC or real estate now?
Now, I think I might be the exception, but no,
right? Like
I get killed.
And there's just like some things that like, especially in MMA, like how hard you work can only get you so far. It's half the equation. The other is God-given athleticism. You know, that's the problem.
You know, you got to understand UFC, it feeds off the rawest emotion of humans, which is pride, which pride leads to ego. And listen, you have to have it in any type of professional sports, in my opinion, but the problem is how many UFC fighters you think there's like would be a professional status? Maybe 500, 1,000? 1,000. And what percentage of those make six figures or more, you think?
50.
You think half of them do?
50 out of 1,000.
Oh, 50. So 50 out of 1,000. What percentage is that?
Card fighters.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So the problem is of that means 950 people chase a dream that you have a very small shot of getting it. The only way you do that, you got to have a huge ego because it's your pride of wanting to do it. But if 950 out of 1,000 fail, that's ego. So if you understand, you take that same equation in wholesaling, to me, it would almost be the opposite if you'll do it. But to be successful in wholesaling, you have to lose your ego and you have to find the things to do that will actually make you money and not make you prideful, important, and stand out. And I love the UFC for it because you couldn't be a champion without it. But the problem is there can only be a few champs and there's got to be a lot of victims. And wholesaling, if you switch your mentality around and you leave your ego at the door and you do stuff that actually pushes the needle in the business, you will be successful. And I think it's an interesting analogy with the UFC because do you know how many UFC fighters are out there like they're working, they're doing DoorDash, they're doing Uber Eats, all this other stuff. They train during the day and then like they work during the night. It's tough, man.
So let's look at this. Israel Adesanya's net worth is $4 million. He was getting about $2 million a fight, and then he can only be on the top for so long. He was one of the top 10 fighters in the entire world for MMA.
Mm-hmm.
The top 10 wholesalers in the country are making way more than that. Their net worths are way higher than 4 mil.
And
so it's like, what would you rather be?
And the smart UFC guys, they gravitated over to boxing to take their paycheck.
That's it. Would you rather be the top 5, basically a top 5 wholesaler in the country? Do they make more, or do they make more top 5, basically top 5 table tennis players in the world, right? It depends what you do, right? What I'm saying is the best way, if you have no cash at all, is just to be in the right boat in wholesaling real estate. You can just be above average in wholesaling and clear 6 figures. Not even a question. You make $300-400 grand a year, better than half.
Easy.
Guys, if you want to be a lawyer making $500,000, you have to be like top 5%, right? Like top 10% of a lawyer's. And that's the craziest thing. And so you want to make $1 million as a doctor, you're going to have to be one of the top 10% doctors out there in the world.
Yeah. So understand this, doctors and lawyers, they go to school for a specific skill set, obviously. Here's the one thing that I've learned. So I've been around a lot of people is most of them get those high skill sets. They have no idea how to run a business. So that's why most law firms are, Smith, Doug, Elliott, and Associates. Those people create a business, they have structure, and then they bring people in and they do it. Everybody thinks lawyers are so rich. To be honest with you, it's hard what they do. And to be a lawyer and have the entrepreneurial to do the marketing, do the billing, and set up your company, it's not easy to do. And most people, they get these super high skill sets and you still have to learn to become an entrepreneur. And that's what I love about wholesaling is you learn the entrepreneur thing up front, and then we apply the trade as you learn the business. See, most people go and they want to be a laser precision surgeon, but most of them wind up working for major medical hospitals because it's just easy. If you go out and do it on your own, it's very hard to do.
That's it. So what are the 6 things that we did to make more money than we could ever imagine? And how we do it where it just feels illegal? Number 1, we were in the right boat. The reason why we make more money than pretty much anyone, the average person, is just we're in the right boat. If we put this effort into a father and son arts and crafts TikTok page, we'd be making less money. Okay, if we were a rap duo, we'd be making a lot less money than we do now. Sometimes you're just in the right boat, and you have to acknowledge that. I acknowledge that if I was not in wholesaling real estate, I'd probably be making less money. Probably a couple things I'd make more money on, but I don't know what those things would be. But like, I don't know. And so that's the thing. Number 2, the most important skill for anybody is acquiring the skill of finding discounted properties. That's it. Discounted properties. And this is the first skill I think everyone should master. It's the first skill we talk about, but having the skill of finding discounted properties with any budget. So there's a caveat to this. Do you want me to show you how to find discounted properties the easiest way possible? Spend $100,000 on Google PPC. Say, we buy houses cash, sell house cash, drop $100,000 the next month.
There you go.
And you'll find discounted properties.
Boom.
Done. Are we
That's
done?
a $10,000 course right there.
Are we done?
Yeah.
Go to $100,000, give it to Facebook and say, we buy ugly houses, and make a quick ad on AI, and boom, spend $100,000. Spend $100,000 on direct mail. Like, guys, it's easy to find the real skill is learning how to do it with every single type of budget.
It's marketing 101, the highest skill set you can learn in wholesaling. But don't take my word for it. Go take your poll on the internet. Find the most successful people investing in real estate. 95% of them will have a strong foundation in wholesaling where they started. Try to do it the other way. You know how many realtors have come to us, how many mortgage brokers, everybody who fix and flippers. I want to do what you want to do because I don't want to pay you anymore, Rick. I could hand it to them on a silver platter. Like, I'm not doing that. And so if you understand that, it's kind of your analogy you talk about in the right boat. If you take the PPC or the PPL route, it's like going upstream without a paddle. Is that the analogy? It's like, I mean, just a visual, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to get sucked up. Your boat's going to get flipped over.
There's better ways for the money. That's the way I'm telling you. But the thing is, like, if you want to go promote, let's say you have a laundromat and you want to go promote it, what's the best way to get customers? Go spend $300,000 on TV ads. You'll get customers.
You'll get them.
But will you get $300,000 of no? And so the thing is, it's very easy to find discounted properties. You could just pour a bunch of money into something and get a bunch of deals. The real skill is learning, hey, we're a laundromat. We have $1,000 for marketing. How do we get the most customers? That's the skill.
Highest and best use.
We have $100 a month. We have no money. We have $30. We have $500. That's the real skill. That's the skill that nobody talks about. It's all about throw money into it, because if I'm selling you a $14,000 coaching program, of course I'm going to tell you to drop 14 grand a month in marketing, make my life easy.
It's about resourcefulness, meaning when you get those resources, whatever your niche list, what are you going to do to attack it? Are you going to take the traditional method, PPC, PPL, go with a realtor, or you're going to get creative and figure out how to connect with these people, how to have a conversation with them, get them a deal on it? If you can do that, you can get the kind of ROIs me and him talk about, so you can be in the top percent.
That's it. So if you want to learn that skill, we teach that skill for free in our free wholesale community, freewholesaling.com. Now, it's right here. This is freewholesaling.com, or free wholesaling. Can you say it with me in the most condescending way? Community. I've heard people say community so many times, and they say it in the most like,
I don't get
like
it.
They say, you're trying to wholesale community? Like they put such emphasis on the word community.
Why?
It's just annoying. I don't know.
Is it trademarked by somebody?
I don't know. But like, join my wholesaling community. It's completely for free. People really don't like that it's free. But basically, we have two resources I think everyone should. First and foremost, this is my courthouse leads. This is where you can go get government lists absolutely for free.
For free?
So these are free ways to get government data that you just click a button and get it. We're working on updating it. But pretty much everywhere we have code violations, fire damage properties, pre-foreclosures, probates, all for free. You go click it, you're good to go right here.
All free.
I think this is, oops. There we go, right here. And you can do it absolutely for free right here, right? You just click the link, get all the code violations. I was playing around Pittsburgh yesterday with some AI stuff, and boom, you're good to go there. Now, what I'd also implore you to do is go right here in freewholesaling.com, and we have a free 26-page PDF on how to get started wholesaling real estate. Guys, I put a lot of effort in this thing, and all my, like, let me just put it in the chat for everybody. I don't want your email or anything. I'm just going to show you how to do it in here.
Just give it to him.
Give it to him for free. Why not? Let's see here. There we go. And pretty much all you got to do is just go here, and I share my tech stack. I share the top virtual markets, marketing systems, how to find deals with no money. Like, pretty much like the 32 ways to find a deal if you have no money, right? Like all the stuff, tips, tricks, scripts, all this, like it's all in there, right? Like, so I'm not here to make this a whole commercial for freewholesaling.com because it's free. I don't know what else you're doing, but like the skills I just teach you in there. It's really not that complicated. You just go to freewholesaling.com, you go in there. I'll show you one last thing in here really quick because guys, I mean, there's 17,000 people who already joined this year. So you just go to marketing and boom, like all the modules are in there. Done. All the downloads, modules, everything like that, right? freewholesaling.com, it's all in there. I mean, sells itself there. I mean, it's completely free, right? But I can tell you, if you're watching this and you never heard of me, just go to freewholesaling.com. It's free. Join the community. We got our Discord calls, all that fun stuff. But again, the skill of finding discounted properties is the number one skill set we could start off. The next thing, you have to get the skill to focus. Guys, when I became a millionaire at the ripe age of 20 years old, I did it because I just focused. You did too.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't look at anything else. We kept straight view into what we were doing. No innovations, no creative financing. I didn't try any other businesses. I didn't go create something else. Wholesaling houses. That's the skill set of not doing other things and just focusing straight on what you got to do and having that tunnel vision. That's a skill set in itself. And a lot of people get drawn into different things. One of the worst things is a guy turns into a creative finance guy now, then he wholesales. He tries all these things. The worst type of person, and I hate to say this, one of my worst pet peeves is a guy who says, I'm a serial entrepreneur. Oh, so you give up quick. And what I mean by this is Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, all these like the richest people, they're not serial entrepreneurs. They own one company.
Yeah, you can't actually, by saying you're a serial entrepreneur, it just shows like you don't have commitment to like, it's crazy. Andy Frisella talks about this a lot. He's like, do one thing and just master it and hit it out of the park. If you constantly keep going to new things and call yourself a serialpreneur, it's like you're basically broadcasting the world. I can't finish anything I start, and I don't believe what I start. Look, guys, you're in a society where everybody wants to start something. Very few can finish
Can I
it.
say something? Your favorite?
Yeah.
I own 17 businesses.
Yeah.
I haven't people told me they could. Zach, I own 17 businesses.
I honestly, I would never do business with you because
gosh,
your attention span is probably nothing. It's not easy.
oh,
Now, I own multiple businesses too, but I don't care if you own 50 or one. Like, how good are the businesses? Who are you helping out? And like, what is your niche that nobody else does? That's all I ever want to know. But like, if you constantly try to reinvent the wheel, I get it. When you're young, we make mistakes. I even got into businesses. I sold boats at one time, but I'm never going to retire that. I always knew that. But we have to find ourselves. But like when you keep finding yourselves in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, believe them. So
that's it.
go all in, guys. I'm just telling, like nobody on this live stream doubts that real estate is a path to financial freedom. It's been proven for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It's no different than now. I've proved it since 2003. 10 more waves before me proved it. And now me and Zach are trying to kind of prove it to you. So the one thing I like about this, this vehicle works. You just got to pick the lane you want to drive in. Do you want to be a realtor? Fine, be admitted. If you want to do that and that's your passion, go for it. But like if you became a realtor, become financially free, I don't think you're really telling yourself the truth.
That's it. Me and Rick own 3 businesses. Number 1, a real estate investing business, and wholesaling. It's kind of all together. Flipping, wholesale, all that stuff generates most of the income, JV, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, we have our investment businesses, which is for rentals and assets and just stuff like that. And 3 is a software business, actually. It's 3 businesses in how many years combined? 26 years combined.
Yeah.
3 businesses. And it has always been 2 forever. And then we added 3 last year. That's pretty much it.
But mine's always been
3.
Mine's always centered around real estate investing.
It's all real estate.
With a specializing in wholesaling. Why? I hate fix and flips. And let me tell you what, once again, don't take me and Zach's word for it. Go and check everyone who does fix and flips. See how long they do it for. And you're going to constantly see they turn it on, they turn it off. They turn it on, they turn it off. And yes, they do make a lot of money when it's on. But in that off cycle, most of them are losing their ass. That's why we sell the fix and flippers. I don't tie up any of my time, any of my resources. I don't waste my time thinking about what color, because God knows I'm colorblind. Like, you got to understand, once you start fix and flipping, your profit is undetermined. You go in a speculation game.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's, you got to understand that.
Andrew had a good, some people were like, what about Alex Ramosi? I get that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, Alex Ramosi owns one business and he invests in companies. I do the same thing. I invest in multiple companies.
Mm-hmm.
You can call them stocks. What he does is called private equity. I own some private companies too, but most of it's public equity that I invest in and rentals. It's not like I own 17,000 different businesses. Technically, if you buy the S&P 500, you own 500 businesses technically. Let's not get technical. Guys, when you just focus, like, I had to stop you for a very long time. It's like, hey, we make all the cash into the real estate investing stuff, wholesaling, flipping, stuff like that. And we pour the cash into investments.
Yeah.
Those are what we do. And I remember I sat you down once. I said, hey, like, why don't we just, and you're like, yeah, that's a good idea. We just make millions of dollars.
I got ADHD.
And then you pour those millions of dollars into investments. And that was the 1-2 punch we always had.
That's it, guys. The wholesaling, if you generate the cash, and I do admit it's a job, but dude, it's a high paying job. And then you take that cash and you buy assets that will pay you for your rest of your life. And then if you want to retire from wholesaling, although retiring is if you do it really good, I promise you'll never retire from wholesaling. It's so much fun. I like working on the deals. Once the deal is inked and done, I'm bored. I want to go find something else. I like the art of chasing real estate deal. The fixing flipping, I do not understand what you guys see in it because you're just feeding your ego. And number two, you have no idea what the profit is. And when you have those down years, which you'll have, you're mostly trying to reduce your loss. And that's why I hate it. So most fix and flippers go through 2-year cycles.
That's it. Number 4, gotta learn how to close sellers. This is a very important part because this is the difference between you're making $5,000 on a deal, 10 grand on a deal to 20 to 30. You got to know how to go for the no. You got to learn how to lowball. That is the secret here in wholesaling real estate. Whoever sells you anything different does not do off-market wholesaling. That's it, or direct to seller, right? It's always something else. So just letting you know, learn how to lowball sellers. This is the most important skill set in wholesaling. The top wholesalers in the country, the best closers in the country, all lowball. They all do.
You have to.
They might tell you they don't, but they always call it something else. Everyone who says it's not lowballing, oh, they call it something else. Guys, closing a seller is not the most important skill set in wholesaling real estate. Coming from a guy who is probably one of the best in the entire country, if not the best, but like I don't make it my thing because finding off-market deals and just closing is the best. The way I look at acquisitions is about how good of a shooter you are. What I mean by this is if you look at basketball, some people are the best sharpshooters in the world. I think of Kyle Korver. Okay. He's one of the best sharpshooters in the world. Why is Kyle Korver, he's a slow white boy, 3-point shooter. Why did he not destroy LeBron James? He had a better 3-point percentage than LeBron James. He should be better. He's the king of threes.
Yeah.
Why is he not better than LeBron? Because LeBron takes more shots. It doesn't matter if LeBron has a worse 3-point percentage than him. LeBron simply is able to take more shots because you know what I mean? And so I always looked at it like this. It's like there are plenty of people who are better 3-point percentages than Kobe Bryant, but Kobe always scored more because he just shot more. It's better to take 10 shots and make half than it is to make every single shot of 2. That's the truth. You get more points doing that.
Yeah.
And the scoreboard is not how your closing percentage. The scoreboard is how many points you put up. Simple as that.
But you got to have opportunities. So if
those are the opportunities, multiply by your closing rate. That is it.
If you were going to be the master of one thing in wholesaling, I tell you it would be marketing because it's going to give you the most opportunities. And I already tell you my theory on closing is you guys are more of a guide. You're educating them and you're solving a problem. So if you have 10 problems to solve in front of you, you have a much better shot than you have 2 in front of you. So like being the most effective close, that's fine. But wouldn't you rather have more opportunities? And the really cool part thing is you have more opportunities. You learn to become a better facilitator, closer, whatever you want to call it. But don't get me started on like the sales training. Because if you guys think you could go deep down on that, I would focus on the market.
I'm going to use one last analogy. It's like the yards per carry. You get one running back. You gave him 2 carries and he got 2 20-yarders. He has 20 yards to carry. He's the greatest running back of all time.
His yak.
He had 2.
Yeah.
Two.
I know.
So like a lot of people think, oh, it's all about your yards per carry. No, it's just how many yards you get in general. It's crazy to me. So just think about that for a second, okay? You got to remember, the last part is learning how to dispo and sell to a cash buyer. A lot of people think you don't sell to cash buyers anymore. Some people think it is God's greatest gift in the world that you have presented this cash buyer with this opportunity to go buy a house for 95% of the listing price. Yeah. They are just blessed. The angels from above are singing their harps because this deal that's locked, that is $100,000 on the MLS, you're presenting to them for $95,000. Yeah. They should be kissing your feet at this opportunity. That's not how cash buyers work. And that's not how they've worked for a very, very long time. There was some time in wholesaling real estate a couple of years ago where if you had a deal, buyers were blessed to have your deal. It's not the opposite, but it's not the other way around either. You have to still sell a deal to a cash buyer. So many of you guys say, hey, here's a deal. Take it. Take it, boy. Like they're giving a dog a treat. Like, hey, I have a deal. How are you? Like the problem is real estate investors are getting smarter and smarter. And they know that they can buy off-market deals. The problem is there's a lot of wholesalers out here. So if there are 10 cash buyers in your market and 10 wholesalers, and each wholesaler presents a deal to that cash buyer,
Mm-hmm.
who is the cash buyer going to go with? They're going to go with the best deal. They talk with their pockets. And I said this on Sunday, and it was a very controversial take, but it's the most true take, is Americans, okay, let's talk about Americans. They ultimately always choose what's best for their pocketbooks. Some don't. There are things that like amorally no, but like most people choose at their pocketbooks at the end of the day. So let's look at all the way back on the presidential. People vote with their checkbooks. 2008, economy's crashing. Who decided to run a campaign on the most financial change for you? Obama. I'll be honest with you. The other guy did not do it much, okay? About how I can help you with your money with this bad economy. 2012, same thing. 2016, people wanted to change financially, and they chose somebody who did that. 2020, COVID, everyone was freaking out. What's the best for my money, my job? They voted with their pocketbooks who could protect them during these weird, bad times. 2024, people didn't like inflation. One person said they'll reduce inflation. One person said they wouldn't. And another person won. I'm not getting political. I didn't mention candidates really. But most Americans choose what's best for their financial pockets. Cash buyers did the same thing. They don't care how sweet Rick is sometimes. If you give them a bad deal, they're going to be soured forever from that deal. And the cool part is, if let's say me and Rick both are wholesalers, but I sold a cash buyer 5 deals and he made 50 grand every single flip, and you present him a better deal, but it's a little riskier, who's he going to go with? He's going to go with me every time because I have a track record of success for him. So you got to remember, dispoing and selling to a cash buyer is exactly like a stray cat. I've said this before. If cash buyers are like stray little kitties, if you try to feed them for the first time, they're a little skittish, that's okay. If you feed a cat 5 times in a row, the 6th time they're going to kind of come up to you and be nice. And you don't have to worry about, it's not that much work. Same thing with a cash buyer. And what I mean by this is, if you have a good relationship with a buyer, relationships aren't just with words. Hey, I sell you deals, you buy deals, and you're doing well. Dispo gets easy, but you have to work your way up from there, right?
Yeah, it's just, remember, you got to sell the vision to the cash buyer. Some of you guys just think you present the opportunity and people stand in line to go out the door. Like you do, all you have to do is have a decent presentation and give them a clear-cut picture. And if you try to smoke screen the picture with your fake comps, your fake rehab, you're just fooling yourself. I'm just telling you, it still does. I agree. You got to be nice. For the longest time in this business, when things were going like crazy, like the real estate market was blowing up, you could get away with a lot. But now it's come back to haunt a lot of you. Like people are so nasty to me. I don't even know what to do. I'm like, did you actually take the time? Did you ask them their name? Did you ask them a little bit about themselves? Now, you don't have to go like you do with a motivated seller, but like get some basic information and find out and just have a conversation. You don't have to spend 20 minutes with them, but everybody wants to text, email. Nobody wants to talk to anybody anymore. And you wonder why you get such a poor response on your cash buyers list. Just work on it. You really should be working on it daily. 500 cash buyers, they don't exist, guys. You got 500 fakes on there.
Okay, so what you mean by that is, if you go in your market, there are legitimately 300 cash buyers in your market at most. And that's like a decent market. Let's look at Macon, Georgia. Macon, Georgia probably has 100 actual wholesaling cash buyers right now. 100. So do you think you need to text blast 100 people? The worst type of dispo I've ever seen is you text Rick the address.
I get it all day long. All day long.
Address and a link to the pictures of the property.
Yeah.
Say, buy it. That's not how you dispo.
Because I'm going to make an instant judgment on your numbers.
Instant judgment.
Because I don't know. Listen, if I don't know the motivated seller story, how is your cash buyer going to know your contract story?
Well, that's okay. But the point is, just if you just send it up, it's going to be about what's the best price. And that works to a point. But if you call the person up and you're just a lot more personable to the person and they can trust you over the voice, I don't care if you have AI write the email. there's no wording of AI you can write on a text or email to make the cash buyer trust you as much as a phone call.
Yeah. So let me give you the difference.
Not even close.
And I'm not inviting anybody else to call me. The people that call me go, "Hey, Rick, listen, I appreciate it. Very polite to me. A little bit of butt kissing, whatever you do." So I go, I just don't hang up on people. But they go, "Hey, I got a deal. I've been working out of Orlando, Florida. I just got it under contract. It's a probate. It seems like a really smoking deal. It should be pretty easy. I need some help. I would love to work with you." Do you think I'm going to look at that deal? Like, you just keep me on the word probate. You just put it under contract. You've respected my time. I almost feel obligated to look at it. Where the people that shove me 5 or 6 messages with, and then I just see a crappy house on the front. It looks like it's overpriced. I don't even bother to look at that stuff. So remember, whenever you network with someone, you want to provide some sort of value. The hook on me, you say probate around me, my head will snap around and I will look at your deal. But when I see a crappy house with a crappy price and a crappy presentation to me, you get a crappy response.
That's it. And a lot of your buyers don't want to deal with a new person. And I'm being honest with you.
Because there's so many newbies out there, but you can be new and do this.
It's just like a restaurant though. If you're a really good restaurant, what's the hardest thing you have to do? Just getting new people in the door. Because once they eat your food, they're going to be customers for life.
Yeah.
And what I mean by this is once I give a deal to a cash buyer and they make money, I don't need to work hard for them really much. Like they're going to be calling me. I got buyers who call me for deals. And the thing is, if you're a pizza place and you sell really bad pizza, right? Let's say you leave no meat on the bone for the buyer and they lose 30 grand on a deal.
It's like selling pizza without cheese on it.
You are never, ever going to get them to buy a deal from you ever again.
And
you burn them once.
Yeah.
And some of you guys are trying to just pour way too much and squeeze it. Just be careful, right? So here's the thing though, okay? And this is the most important part, all right? I learned how to close. I learned how to dispo. But most importantly, all right, number 6, I learned how to do this at scale. I learned how to do all of those things at scale. What do I mean by this? I combined all of that stuff, and that's how I made the millions. I took all this. So for example, I figured out how to find properties at a discount at scale. It's easy to find one deal, but how do you find 30 of these opportunities in a week? Whew, that's scaling. I learned how to texting systems, calling systems, trying for dollars, direct, all this. Like I learned how to do it at scale. Closing sellers at scale. That was a very difficult thing to do. Something I always still work on every day. But what I mean by this is like, okay, let's do a little math test. If an appointment takes 1 hour, right, and you can only do 8 hours a day of appointments, how many appointments can you get done in a day? 8, right?
Yeah.
And that's no lunch break, right? 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
How do you close? How do you do 16 appointments in a day with one person?
Fast.
You don't do it. You don't. You can't. If it takes an hour to fully close the person, drive to the, you can't do it. How do you do 20 in a day? You can't. So there's actually physically a limit of how much money you can make as a solo wholesaler. By yourself, no employees, right?
It's true.
So the real answer on scale, we learned this ourselves. We have to have 2 people. We have to have someone on one appointment and some person on another appointment for the day, physically, or over the phone, whatever it is, right? And so the thing is, closing sellers at scale is not a real thing for one person. So that's the problem. And that's the secret. I think this is why I don't put the craziest emphasis on finding discounted property versus finding discounted properties at scale. It is way harder to scale out your marketing than it is to scale out a solo closer because you can't scale a solo closer.
No.
So you need 4 or 5 closers. You got it. Here's the problem though. Here's the hardest part about scaling out a closing team: feeding them the leads.
You need a machine
without spending millions of dollars every single year or spending millions of dollars a month. And that's the real skill set. Because if you just have an average closer, above average, let's say above average, that's all you really need. You do not need an elite, because from average to elite, a closing rate is going to go from 60% to 70%, 75 maybe. That 60 to 75% it doesn't really mean much if you can just double the amount of leads you get and just get more above average closers. Because the amount of elite closing guys, there are not many out there. There's not. You get above average ones, but not elite. And that's the main issue at closing sellers at scale is you don't need to be the most upper echelon in the world. Just get more leads. You're good to go. There's nothing wrong about that though, but I learned how to scale out the right way. And it's a lot of us teaching people how to do it and a lot of training, which really is not fun for me to do, but it's the only way I could scale up my time. And then again, learning how to dispo and sell to cash buyers at scale. Let me give everyone my super big secrets today. The way I learned how to dispo and sell to cash buyers at scale is selling good deals to buyers and then being repeat buyers. How do I get as many customers in the door of my restaurant? I know it sounds crazy. You just got to spend more money on better ingredients and better chefs. And if you get a better product, you don't have to market. You don't have to do TV ads. They just come to the restaurant. There's a reason why Nobu Steakhouse, which is one of the most like famous steakhouses in the world, they don't run TV ads. They are not Applebee's or Chili's. People go to them because it's good food.
It's good.
That's it. And so you can sell your deals to a cash buyer if they make money from every deal they buy from you. You don't have to go out here and spend hours trying to sell a deal. Call up the top buyers that buy from you, they make money, and boom, done like that. And you get really niched out on the new buyers too. Get the right data, but like dispo at scale is not as complicated as people make it. You got to get the foot in the door. You got starting out, but once you get good deals and you can sell them for good deals and you make sure they make money, you make money, everyone's happy.
Yeah. I mean,
it's simple.
It's not rocket science.
It's really not. But the question here though, let's talk about scaling. Why can't realtors scale past 5 million a year? There's not many. There's not much. You know, you got there's two ways actually. Let me tell you the two ways realtors can scale past 5 million a year. Why can't most do it? Number one, you need multiple people. Well, if you're a top realtor and you have a $30 million house and you're too busy, so you just give it to your friend. Mm-hmm. Is that person with a $30 million house going to go with you? No, because there's probably another realtor who's used to selling a $30 million house. Is that they're not going to go with you unless they could fit with realtors. If you're not the guy, they're not going to go with you.
I agree. And
so you can't really scale yourself out. Now you can scale property values. So if you're stuck at making $100,000 a month as a realtor and you're doing $1 million houses, do $5 million houses. My favorite are realtors, by the way. I have to give me like a minute to roast realtors for a second. My favorite are realtors who have zero listings, mm-hmm. and they brag about being a luxury real estate agent.
A luxury.
I only do houses.
Certified.
I only do houses over $10 million.
Well, you ever see all the designations?
You haven't sold anything. You haven't sold anything.
See all they have a certified distressed property.
It's crazy.
And you know what makes them certified? They go pay and take a course at like their National Realtors Association. Oh. And you know, a lot of them never even done one. So like, I'm a short sale specialist. I'm a distressed property foreclosure specialist. Like they have so many designations. And listen, my cat could pass those tests. I had a lady with a card. She had, I think, 5 or 6 different designations. I'm just like, but no listings. The only designation I want you to have in wholesaling is you market your butt off. Like that's it. I'll give you a market your butt off pin because that's the only one that matters, because that one's going to drive the most amount of opportunities, going to make you a great, great negotiator.
That's it. I'm telling you. So the true scaling comes from people. And unless like Ryan Serhant, you can have people under you that people are okay with using. Mm-hmm. It's going to be very hard for you to scale. Now, how am I able to scale with people? Well, I got my own employees and I also have millions of followers. I have hundreds of thousands in all of our communities in wholesaling real estate, so we could scale that too. That's the coolest part. Like I can get JV deals sent to me at scale because I can make a video, gets 10,000 views, and then thousands of you send me deals. Mm-hmm. That is it's scaling 101. I can make one video. It takes me probably 2 hours to make a video, right? If I spend an hour and a half writing it and then 30 minutes recording it, and then my team will spend like 2-3 hours editing it. But it's not, I mean, I just pay them, right? And what is that? 9 hours maybe for one video, right? But that video gets seen by 10,000 people for an hour. Remember 10,000 hours. That's 10 hours of my work, but 10,000 hours of watch time. So it's like that's scale.
But the foundation of how you did that is when you start out doing your own physical bandit signs and you did digital bandit signs. You just learned the skill set of marketing. And then once you mastered it in your own market or your virtual markets, once you got some experience, you figure out how to do scalability. And me and Zach teach you the basics on how to get running with that. But
It's on wholesaling.com.
I know. And by being a wholesaler, like honestly, like marketing is the highest skill set. And so if you master marketing and wholesaling, you can do it in any aspect of your life. And that's the beauty of it. But like, he didn't start out with millions of followers on the internet. He started out with like one physical bandit sign, one digital bandit sign, one cold call, one text. And after a while, you get the mechanics of it. And then once you have a foundation, then you can figure out how to put monies towards it and scale it. And so we all have to start somewhere.
That's it. That's how you do it. So I'm telling you right now, you can't buy these skills that I just told you. You have to earn them. Now, this is the biggest scam I see in wholesaling is people try to sell you that, oh, all you have to do is buy my course and you gain the skill set of finding discounted properties with no money. There is way more to a skill than just knowing it. Okay. There's actually doing it. It's learning and earning. You learn how to throw a punch by throwing punches. Yeah, we can learn the technique of how to throw a punch, but it still don't make guys, you can read a book on how to throw a punch and I put you on the punching like power machine scale and you're not going to max it out. The guy that kind of knows what he's doing and then practices and then does it is going to do way better. The problem is there's no, it's like reading a book on how to be good at fishing offshore. It's like, it's better just to be fishing offshore a lot to get more skills than actually like going out here and reading books on it. So you can't go buy the skill. You have to earn it. You cannot buy the skill on how to close a seller. I don't care what tips or scripts you get. You have to just do it. And by doing it, you gain that skill set. Guys, it's not fair that me and Rick will work 3 hours a day, maybe in wholesaling, and we make more than all these realtors working 100 hours a week. It's not fair. And here's the thing, from the outside view, it doesn't look fair. I get told this all the time.
It's not fair.
Good for you, Zach. Congrats. Well, that's nice for you that you can do it. That's nice for you. I get told that all the time. That's good for you. Nice for you. Guys, I had all this stuff because I paid the price for these skills. You paid the price. We all paid these price for these skills. What do you mean by paying the price for the skills? Well, I paid the price of working 15 hours a day getting started. I had sleepless nights. All I thought about was how I'm actually going to make money because I got no money. I have failed at scaling more times than I'd want to say. I failed in so many different marketing tactics. I've tried all these different lists. I've tried all these. I failed more than I succeed. I've had all these employees. We've had to deal with all these lawsuits. All these all this is just a price of pain. And when somebody tells me, "Oh, nice for you, got that nice car," nice for me. You know what? No one was saying good for you or nice for you when I was working 14 hours a day. When I wasn't going out with the buddies on the weekends, no one said good for you or nice for you. No one told me any of that stuff. When people were trying to sue me, no one said nice for you, good for you. No one said any of that stuff when I was coming up and just struggling and eating dirt every single day. Not one person told me, keep it up, Zach, you got this. No one said, oh, nice for you that you're going through all this BS. Not one person told me that. But now that I have all the success, everyone says nice for you, good for you. Isn't that funny? Isn't that hilarious?
Dude, nobody even knew who I was for my first 7 years of wholesaling. No, and you know what? I kind of enjoyed it that way. Like I just dealt with my own little piece of the world, and I had complete control of it. And but after 7 years, it kind of went the opposite way. I'm like, where were you guys the first 7 years when I really needed you? And it's funny, people won't come to you until you reach a level that they could only dream of. And like your entire fight to get there, they're just like pissing and moaning on you the amount of people told me I was an idiot. Why would you do this? Why don't you become a realtor? Like I laugh at now at like realtors. I still deal with realtors on a daily basis. And we're talking about realtors and wholesalers. And listen, I have family members that are realtors. I have no knock on it, but like, listen, you sell something, it's a sales job and you get paid and you got to repeat it. And there's limitations to it, no matter how you do it. And you have massive exposure with lawsuits and E&O insurance, all this other fun stuff. But, in the beginning, it's always going to be lonely and it's designed that way, period. And I don't know why. It doesn't even make sense. You think it'd be the opposite, but it's not.
It's not. So what I'm telling you to do, what are you taking from this? Steal the sauce. Steal the info I'm giving. Guys, I'm giving you millions of dollars of game absolutely for free. Steal the info. Guys, Pablo Picasso said this. He said, good artists copy, great artists steal. And what do you mean by this is like not do it word for word, but like take what the art was, take complete inspiration for it and make it your own. For example, one of my favorite examples is Star Wars. Everyone thinks Star Wars was created just in George Lucas's mind, and everything was they're all inspired. So Star Wars took from a bunch of like samurai culture. You know, not a lot of people know like the lightsabers are samurai swords. That's what the inspiration was, right? You know, two guys fighting like samurais, right? Mishimoto is like the most famous samurai of all time. He killed like 60 people on one-on-one duels, right?
Yeah.
Like he takes that as inspiration. And Homer's Odyssey, you know, that whole like journey, he took that, he stole that idea and made it his own, made Star Wars, right? The thing is, you don't want to reinvent everything. It's like saying, oh, Jimi Hendrix already did the guitar, so I guess we can't make rock and roll. Hey, you know, Sammy Hagar said, you know what? Elvis Presley already sang with his voice. I guess I can't do any rock and roll anymore. Guys, you can take inspiration. All artists have inspiration from other people.
Yeah.
That's it.
A lot of little Zacks out there running around.
There's a lot. Well, what do you mean by that?
I meant big Zacks.
I don't know what that means.
I'm just saying you've inspired a lot of people in
hole.
wholesaling, and they do a lot of things for you, and then they put their own little spin on it. I think it's a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what I mean by this is like,
unless there's something else I need to know.
No.
Okay.
No, not yet.
Just making sure.
But guys, a lot of you try to reinvent wholesaling. A lot of you guys put this like, I'm going to do wholesaling the way no one else has ever done it. I'm going to invent a new way. Let me be honest with you. You see all these books in real estate. This is a book from the 60s. This is a book from the 70s on creative finance. And these are guys that learned it from the 40s, 30s, 20s, 1800s, right? We can go all in. Like, the way that you think of wholesaling real estate has been done for hundreds of years in the United States. And the thing about real estate investing, it's been done for thousands of years. You're not going to reinvent real estate. I hate to tell you this. And so some people get on their high horse. Oh, there's only, my favorite is I have invented a way of closing a seller. Homeboy or homegirl, I don't know, who keeps telling me, like people tell me this. I'm like, I have read all these psychology books. This is a really old book. This is like old. Tom Hopkins, he has I like this book because How to Handle Objections. Love the word no. He has in here. Should I show it or people can get mad at me? His 5-step closing step.
Yeah,
that's what I'll call him. He has 5 steps on how to close sellers. How to close people in 5 steps. You know why? Because everyone talks about CLOSE, close. It's 5 steps. So, guys, this is a book from 1983. So, 1980. Interesting. How to Win in the Game. These are all old books, 1982. But how to motivate yourself to close a seller. Like, this is just an old school sales closing book, right? How to draw. Here's my favorite one. He has an outbound cold calling. This one, page 130, the Master the Art of Selling. How to drop a price anchor. Lowballing, even after the appointment. And close for the name.
Lowballing. Like we didn't invent the lowballing.
Put them on hold so you can obtain information for them. You know, everyone talks about underwriters. He literally teaches from the 80s. Acknowledge the other person's interest. And like we can go on and on. But this book is insane. And this book from the 80s, and this is a guy that learned it from a dude from the 30s probably. And how many Zig Ziglar, his wholesale Bible, his 5-step, I'll leave that later. His 5-step, can you grab that book real quick? His 5-step, we have so many books on here, but right there, so many closing books from back. It's insane. And the thing about this is the methods that we teach you are stuff we read from the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s. And it's just the way we teach this is the way you're going to make money in real estate is the way that people have always been making money. Now, times changed a little bit, but what we teach you is what we call the truth. Now, let me tell you about the truth, okay? Can somebody own the truth? the sky is blue. Do you own that fact? No, you can't own the truth.
No, no.
You don't own that the grass is green, right? You don't own that. That's just the simple truth. No scientist has claimed they own atoms or they own nuclear physics. I don't own math, right? It's the truth. And the best way to close a seller is the truth. Government lists as one of the best ways to find wholesale deals. Do you own probates or the term? No, you don't own probates. It's the truth. It's the best way to get a deal. So we tell you guys, you're all good. You guys can promote this stuff. You guys can give the information. We don't care. But the one thing I will tell you, okay? Let me tell you this. When you take the information that we give out for free and then you try to sell it for like $1,000, then I'm like, you're selling the truth for $1,000. Just give the truth out. You know what I mean?
You actually make more money.
It's like a preacher saying, "Hey, I can tell you how to get into heaven. Pay me $1,000." You give him $1,000, he says, "Follow Jesus."
That's the offer. That's the offering trays.
That's the offer. But like that's what it is. You know what I mean? I'll tell you how to get in heaven. You just got to pay me. It's like what? And the thing is, like that's what people do, guys. I just give you the truth. That's it. And
you'll make more money in the long run by doing that.
And so some people like it's like two churches. I like using church because like they all think they have the ultimate truth, right? It's like one church is for free and they tell you that Jesus is whatever the best, right? And then you have another church you have to pay $1,000 to get in, and they tell you about Jesus. Most people feel like they got more value from the church that they paid $1,000 for than the one that is just gives you the info for free.
It's just human nature.
It's just human nature. But the thing is, you just got to do it. That's how you get rich, guys. I'm giving you my best information. Absolutely for free. So, what are some things you got sued for, and how do you overcome it? That's funny.
Oh, dude, how much time you got?
So half the lawsuits are from us stealing somebody's information. We don't talk about it because they've all been dismissed, or in mediation they've gone away. Shocker. And we have a lot of legal precedent about information and owning them. We've had a lot of wholesaling coaches tell me that I've copied their methods. For example, we had somebody who was ready to go on a full lawsuit with us, and they said, we invented the method of finding motivated sellers through Facebook.
Yeah.
We're like, what do you mean? Well, we invented finding motivated sellers in a Facebook group saying, hey, we buy houses cash in the city, in Cincinnati. And all we had to do was just prove that Rick Ginn posted in Facebook 5 years before the guy was even in high school.
This stuff's been
Rick's
done
been posting
forever.
we buy houses cash on Facebook groups when Facebook groups became a thing. You're posting in the early 2000s on the real estate on fishing groups, fishing forums with thousands of people that I buy houses cash. And so that lawsuit never became anything. So we've been half the lawsuits were because they think that we stole information from them. And this is why we have this is why we always go back and we always have proof. If you think for a second that someone invented subject to, we have a book from the 1960s about subject to. So it's always hilarious to me when so half the lawsuits are just from people being mad because they can't sell coaching because of us. The other half are from really stupid stuff. Yeah. Why don't you go down the line of real estate investing
so listen, if you do real estate long enough, it's not if, it's when you're going to get sued. And once you understand how the game of lawsuits work, it's not scary. The best thing you can do is protect yourself by telling the truth, not hiding material facts, and not, if it doesn't seem right and you know something's wrong, it's usually going to bite you in the butt. So if you stick to a lot of that stuff, but the only person I got sued outside of the stuff we talked there, or outside of some like ridiculous bank stuff that I've had to dealt with. And by the way, banks do call notes due, is usually it becomes from other investors.
Yep.
It's mostly other investors. That's most of the lawsuits, and just ridiculous claims. The crazy part in the United States is anybody can sue anybody for anything, and there's no obligation to make it right, even if you're accused wrong. If you go over to Europe, it's the complete opposite. It's one of the problems we have in the States. But anybody who wants to hire a lawyer that's pissed off at you can sue you for anything.
We got sued once because we had equitable interest in deals. I remember that one guy that died. with the child support, and we got in that lawsuit. When you
I've been wrapped up in a lot of
so
probate cases.
in
too.
wholesaling real estate, you only get sued if the person you sold the deal to did something fraudulent. So you've been in wholesale deals where you're involved in the lawsuit. You had
Yeah.
to testify a couple of times too. But did you ever get in trouble for it legally? No.
No.
But you were a party in that transaction. You had to answer to it, right?
I'm still wrapping up a case from 2013.
What was the guy accused of?
I bought a package of homes from a real estate broker.
You bought.
I bought.
In wholesale, you bought.
I bought. And it wound up there was a lot of fraud involved. Somebody cooked the books. And the best part is I was a plaintiff and defendant in the whole thing. Would have I done anything different? No, I used a title company. I used a lawyer. I used a broker. Everybody got kind of taken. It just came down the depot. I actually put together what happened with it. But once you understand, like, if you know, like, hey, listen, I made an offer on a property. I legitimately had a plan. I know what to do. As long as your story adds up and like you're not colluding with someone, it's hard to get in trouble in wholesaling. When you're constantly trying to hide stuff, it means you're doing it wrong. And if you're constantly trying to hide the sales price, trying to avoid to tell anybody what you do, God forbid, have some pride, man. Like, it's not as bad as you think. And I will tell you this, as long as you take care of the homeowner, that's the person you're at most risk with. And that's why I'm so against novations, because when novations don't work out, who does the homeowner go after? You. And more than 55% of them now don't work out. And so they're very legal documents that are hard to unwind. So I'm not scared of lawsuits because 90% of them are settled before they ever go to trial. The problem is right now, an average lawyer, I just worked with a lawyer, it was $650 an hour.
Oh,
that is shocking. And now they have 2 and 3 hour minimums just to even take your case. So it's
you show me the bill. You're like, oh, Zach, we're paying this. I said, what? You said, yeah, we're just paying
He's the best at it. Like, it's like, honestly, just between $450 and $650, as long as you can get the title clear for me, it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
We're involved in a lawsuit now. We can't maybe talk about when it's done. It's going to trial when? March?
No, we go to mediation in March.
Mediation.
And then it goes.
We're set to make probably $250,000, me and Rick, from hopefully settling this lawsuit with the developer. Tight-lipped. But what we might talk about when we're done, we're suing a developer for.
But guys, lawsuits
it's insane. Yeah.
Like, the first time I got sued, I was in utter shock. I was just like, most people, when first time you get sued, you take it so personal outside of a foreclosure. Like, how could you possibly do this to me? Way back when I got sued because I did business with somebody that taught me some investing in real estate. They didn't teach me wholesaling. And then I went out and started doing my own investing, and people would reach out to me, and he whipped out some piece of paper I signed years ago and says, you can't wholesale anymore. And I'm going to sue you if you did. I'm like, screw you. I did. I moved forward. He hit me with $1 million lawsuit on some sort of non-compete bullshit crap. And at the end of the day, he tried to bury me in legal fees, and he was good at it. It cost me like $25,000 just to get scotch-free. And I learned a lot about like non-competes. But the thing is, all lawsuits come from one factor. You pissed someone off. No one just goes, hey, let's go find someone to sue today. They want to inflict pain and damage. Now, it might be financial, but the worst thing, in my opinion, other than sitting in a courtroom asking the same question 10 times, is when you get deposed. They get you for 6 to 8 hours, and it is the worst feeling. I can't even tell you, because nobody likes you there, and they're trying to make you say something, and hopefully you didn't do it. And they'll keep. I remember telling the lawyer, I go, you've asked the same question 36 times. And they're just, all they got to do is get one snafu on you, and they use it, and it's a pain in the butt. Now, when I get serious, I kind of laugh. That's why you keep organized paperwork. Use your X-Leads account, keep all your notes, everything, keep your documents. And when it comes up, you go, listen, I went to buy this house. I made an offer. The homeowner went sideways. I released him out of it. There's nothing to sue me on. So
I know it's crazy. Definitely a very, very interesting way. But yeah, I'm telling you right now, it gets very, very interesting. That's all I could say. Spiritual Science says the best part of the show is their father and son duo. So here's the thing I want to explain to everyone. and maybe I'm going to expose a bunch of wholesalers. I'm just going to be the truth right here, right? The top real estate investors, their kids get into real estate too. If you look at the top real estate investors, Stephen Ross, I look at like the big multimillionaire ones, right? And I know this is a bad example, but like, I don't know, you can look at like the president's son, right? They're in the business, right?
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. If you're running a legit wholesaling real estate operation, the real legit ones, their kids are usually in the operation because it makes good money.
Yeah.
And here's what, let me tell you why most wholesaling coaches don't make as much money as you think. If you ran a wholesale business, let's say, let's do a smaller one, let's do somebody else, and you're making $1 million a year.
Yeah.
And you really made $1 million, wouldn't I be like, wow, I should probably do what you do?
I'd be all over it.
Right?
Yeah.
Would you show me? Yeah, you probably would show me, right?
That
And help me out and we work together, right? Or let's say you're making $1 million in coaching and you make $0 in wholesaling. Can I work for you as a wholesaler?
you just got to teach them how to be a coach.
And so the thing is, why are all these wholesalers that have their sons who are older than me, why are none of them wholesale? 2 reasons. And maybe 3. 3 is like legitimately, the third reason is they don't want to get into this business, which is very weird because it's like, well, do you want to make 40 grand a month being a basket weaver or do you want to make millions in real estate? For most kids, they're going to choose that. Number 1, they hate their parents. It's number 1. Everyone on social media has the best life. They're the best fathers and mothers in the world, right? Behind closed doors, you see different things. This is why when you hate your parents, you usually move out and you book it across halfway throughout the country and you never want to see them again. And you don't want to do anything associated with them, right? It's the truth. When you have good parents, you usually want to do stuff like they're doing. Or number 2, they're not making as much money as they claim they are.
Or they're not as happy as
and here's
they
the cool,
show on
and I'm
TV.
not mentioning anyone because every big wholesaler that on YouTube or whatever, right? They all have sons and daughters. Is it weird that none of them are into real estate wholesaling and they're all older than me? Isn't that weird?
Like it, guys, at the end of the day, I always tell you is
it's weird, isn't it?
Like I never reached out and go, I'm going to make him a wholesaler.
Look at every real estate investor that's making more than 10, 15 million, like publicly. Their kid, like Ben Mala, he's another good example. Does he really make money in real estate, Ben Mala?
He deploys a lot of capital.
He makes a lot of money. Are his kids into it? Yes. If he was a big fraud, do you think his kids would be into it? No, not at all. Right?
I mean, it's listen.
If you look at big real estate investors and wholesalers, their kids are doing the business. Trust me.
Here's what you've got to understand is if you look at anyone you want to look up to, a wholesaling, real estate investing, whatever, is number 1, are you actually doing what you say? Are you actually making money? Either you've walked the talk or you haven't. Number 2, do you look like you're genuinely having fun and enjoying what you do? And you treat the people around you just as valuable? And number 3, like, does it lead to a more fruitful life? Are you healthy? Do you look good? Like, I don't mean to be this way, but this is all part of how life works. And it's like, and by the way, I think Ben Mala, one of the funniest guys I've ever heard on TV. Like that guy's
made a lot of money in real estate, and his kids grew up with that. Like, dang, I want to do that too.
I know, but I do worry about people's like health. Like he's funny as that.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah,
Grant Cardone. Listen, as much you guys knock him, dude, the man walks the walk. They get on stage, they speak, they live, eat, and breathe in it, and it's great. At the end of the day, you have a choice. You can tell your kids what to do, or you can show them. By showing him is probably one of the reasons he's here, because we spend way too much time lecturing our kids.
But if you were a terrible father, you were mean to me, and I associated that with real estate wholesaling, I would never get into it.
Yeah, even if it was profitable. But to me, it's, I came from a different background where I couldn't get my parents' attention nearly as much. It was a different lifetime. And then I decided at 33, I was going to make a different change. So it's, at the end of the day, follow someone who knows what they're doing, that you're committed to, but like, look at their overall life. Are they happy? Are they in the community? Are they active? Do they thrive in it? Or do they constantly bounce around? And I still like the small family business, dude. I enjoy it. We're a big, small family business, but like we generally enjoy it. And why would I want the business to grow with my son? And he brings new and exciting things to the business. And I just think it's, a lot of people talk. Anybody can make money, okay? But the question is, are you making things better? And do you more than just enrich your family with money? Do you spend time with them? who else gets to run an entire wholesale business, social media, like with their kids? It's like, to me, the ultimate compliment. I love it to death. And for him to stand me and like, and we do have our moments, trust me, just like any other father son. But like, guys, that's it. Like, you have to look past and go, okay, are you walking the talk? The biggest walk in the talk you can is raise your kids to make millions of dollars and work with you to enrich your entire family and your business. I walk that talk, and I challenge anyone else to do it. Is it a requirement? No. If he wanted to go out and be a lawyer, I would have given him all the blessings in the world.
That's it.
But like, he made the choice, and I planted the seed early. I wish somebody did it with me. And I'm just telling you guys, it's all about showing. And if you want to lead someone, show them. Don't sit there and lecture and tell them, because when I was kids, people tell me you shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. Teachers all day long. I didn't pay attention. I was stupid. But like, when you look at the end of the day, I've been doing this 22 years. I had no idea how the latter part would come, especially when I had kids. And honestly, when I had kids, I was like, they go, are you crazy to do wholesaling? You got no time. And I just embraced it. Kids screaming, throwing up, doing the whole 9 yards. I just didn't care, because I was going to bring my family along. So if I'm going to bring them along on wholesale and get them financially free, why wouldn't I give them an opportunity in the business? But I made him earn it. It was brutal for him. But remember, I always tell you, do the hard stuff up front, and you'll get much easier rewards in the long run. If you want to do the easy stuff, go to college. I'm just being brutally honest. It's not going to it's going to make your parents feel wonderful. You're going to get to party a little bit, and then eventually you're going to have to go deal with life. So what the example Zach's saying is just like, we actually walk the talk. Show me any other combo duo that does that. And that's it, because let me tell you, young people from the ages of 17 to 25, that's where parents really have to step up to the plate.
That's it. So I'm just telling you right now, like every other wholesaler, if you want your kids to do it, like, just have them do it. Here's the thing with my kids in the future, right? They could choose to make 50 grand a year at a regular job, or they can make millions of dollars. If I'm 19 years old, I'm a young man, I'm 19, I'm choosing the $1 million. But if you hate your parents, or your parents actually aren't making as much money as they say, you can't do it, right? I could teach my son how to be a good wholesaler. Could I teach him to be good on camera and like do the social media part? Some people just don't want to do that, but anyone can be a wholesaler.
And guys, listen, some kids have the right mindset. He had to make all the sacrifice when all the other kids were out partying, going to college, doing all this crazy stuff. I don't know if I would have had the mindset at his age to do it, but keep in mind, I didn't have any leadership. I didn't have any guidance. I had to figure out where the chips fall. So as I matured over time, I go, there's got to be a better way. And I'm just telling you, I don't care if you're starting at 13, you're starting at 90. Wholesaling doesn't care that part, but like, everyone's got to receive it. And like, listen, teaching your kids and bringing them in your business is very, some of you guys worked in family business. Some are brutal. Some of you guys are enslaved. Like, I'm not being mean, but you're stuck in the family business because you got to help mom and dad. And there's a certain amount of pride. I'm not knocking that, but at some point you got to dig out of that and find something to actually enrich the family and make them better. Not only monetarily, but things you can do. Me and him own assets together. We constantly have to figure stuff. We go on vacations, we have fun, and that's it. Like, we just kind of, I think he just wanted to kind of point out to you, because it's rare.
I'm already throwing things at, but like, here, the reason I'm saying that is so many people claim to make all this money online wholesaling, all these wholesalers. Their kids are like, I saw one guy, he's like a coach kind of, he's like, proud of my son, he's a car salesman now. I'm like, I just think to myself, maybe I'm stupid, but I'm just like, well, if you were making so much money as you claim, why was he a car salesman? Wouldn't he want to get into wholesaling? Couldn't you help the guy out? And the thing, like, a lot of stuff smoke and mirrors. That's all I could say.
No, and listen, guys, it's all getting the kids young and educating, but like, honestly, from 17, 18 to 25, that's when you really have to throw your kid in the arena. You still give them the support, but like, you got to like, some of you guys, we're in a society where everybody wants to do everything for their parents. So if you're going to go out and put every bandit sign, you're going to answer every phone call and put your kid's name on the contract, you're not doing them any favors. You're going to have to let them struggle. It's painful, but this is remember, hard work up front, much easier outcome. Easy work where you feel good and there's no pain for your kid, they'll be living in your basement till they're 50.
That's it. That's how you get going, guys.
It's just true.
But whoever wants it the most is going to get it. That is how this business works. I don't care if you have kids, you got no kids, anything like that. If you just learn how to find discounted properties, you can lock up the contract, then sell to a buyer. You'll make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. It legitimately, in my heart, I know it sounds crazy, but it's like, why would you do anything else besides this? I really mean that in my heart. Yeah, you can make $100,000 being a DJ. You work a lot harder than making $100,000 wholesaling. This is my heart. This is where I've always been at, and I've never really changed on this thought because at 17, I made $20,000 and it changed my entire life. When you make $20,000, all right, when you make $20,000 at 17 years old, there's nothing else you want to do for the rest of your life ever again.
Just spoiled.
That's it. You get spoiled. You're never doing anything else. So guys, if you want to learn how to do it, I got a free course, free community, freewholesaling.com. Check it out. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe. We'll see you soon. Rick will be on live on Thursday. Won't be here Thursday, but we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.